Hey everyone, welcome back to the Feminine University, and where we master the art of feminine flow and fulfillment. And today is no exception, and I brought you the embodiment expert, Bex Burton, here with me today because the feminine moves through the body.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hey,
Bex.
Antia. Hi. Hello, everybody.
Woohoo! So excited to have you, Bex. And we're going to be talking about the embodied feminine, and we'll be debunking some myths around the feminine. So it's going to be great, ladies. So get your seatbelt ready. I just wanted to say, or your high heels on, or whatever you want to say. Beck helps stressed out, overachieving women establish joyful wellness practices so that they calm stress and worry, minimize conflict in relationships, and fully enjoy their lives. Through her signature core joy method, Bex helps you quiet your mental chatter so you can feel grounded in your body, balanced in your emotions, connected in your relationships, and feel like you again. She offers transformational coaching opportunities through live and online programs, spectacle dance performances, and nature immersive glamping retreats. I mean, who doesn't want some glamping in their camping?
Bring on the glamping all day and all night.
Oh my God, hey, Bex, it's so good to
Hi.
have you.
Thank you, Antia. Thank you so much for having me on this conversation. I'm really jazzed to speak with you today.
Oh my gosh, I love, you're so on brand. It's all about the joy. But like, I look at you and I feel joy, right? Like, oh my God, my Tuesday is full of joy,
Thank you.
It can't get any better than that. So Bex, when we talk about the embodied feminine, like a lot of women are like, what does that actually mean, right? I'm already embodied. Like, tell us more about that. Like, what does it mean? What's the definition of the embodied feminine?
Well, that is such a great question, Antia, and also like kind of an elusive question. And the way that I think about it is that our feminine energy has so much to do with our being, and our masculine energy has so much to do with our doing. And of course, we're very versed in the masculine and how that shows up in our life, because that's all of our planning, our organization. For those of us who are small business owners, that it's all of the doing in the business. It's moving things forward, and that's not something that we need a course on. We are brought up with that mindset. We're rewarded in life for that mindset. Embodied feminine, though, is not just when we can like sit and reflect on all that doing, but also be in the space of receiving, reflecting, like awarenesses of our own emotional states, awarenesses of any inner conflict that's happening, and ways that we can arouse compassion for ourselves, self-forgiveness. So the embodied feminine is it's not like logical, it's not conceptual, it's not something that we can like sit and do, right? Which is funny because I have this long list of pathways that we can get into our feminine energy, but those are literally just doorways, and the feminine energy actually happens when we pass through that doorway. So if we're saying like, okay, well, dance could be a doorway to our feminine energy, but like the actual doing of the dance is like the getting into it, and the doing it and the putting on our calendar is all masculine. So the embodied feminine happens after we're in the doing, and we release, we let go, we surrender, and in dance, what a wonderful metaphor for the embodied feminine, because that truly, when we do let go, our minds shut down and our body like takes over. Mm-hmm. And we may have experienced this in other areas of our life where we experience flow state. And flow state is a really wonderful example of what's possible in the embodied feminine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it's so good. And I can tell. So, ladies, Bex has a dance background. So, tell us a little bit what your journey has been like with actually coming into the embodied feminine, Bex, and coming out of the sort of, masculine doing structure kind of, way of existence. on this
Oh, girl,
planet.
it is such a pendulum. And, and I see this in a lot of my clients, and this is why we work so well together, because I work with, and I myself am like this fiercely independent, like I can do it myself. When I was like 4, I told my babysitter, I can comb my own damn hair, so there's this, like this independent streak, but which is, serves us so well
Uh-huh.
in the doing life, like in our, in our careers and our, our accomplishments, the things that we're trying to create and produce for ourselves.
Mhm.
And I find that, or historically, I have found that I much more easily flow back and forth between my masculine and my feminine outside of the context of relationship. And it took me a really long time to recognize that when I'm with a male partner, especially a strong masculine partner, then my pendulum swing becomes really, really interesting. I go to that fiercely independent place where I can do it myself, which is very masculine, but then I also swing to almost like a wounded feminine where I can't do anything myself. And, and it's just this crazy spectrum. Meanwhile, my partner's like, I don't know what to do with you. But my intention in sharing all of that, though, is, this piece of embodying the feminine, this piece of living in our feminine, is so crucial
Mhm.
to not only attracting love, but also sustaining long-term relationship, because it is that feminine that produces the softness, the connection, initiates intimacy. Like it's so critical.
Mhm.
And if we are living in our masculine, you know, as an example of where that showed up in my life, when I started my business, my coaching business 5 years ago, I was just hell bent on trying to prove that, I could do the thing, and I could, succeed. And meanwhile, I'm working like 14 hours a day and 6 days a week, and I'm not leaving any time
Wow.
for myself, let alone my partnership. Right. And so that kind of like overdoing and overgiving and overproving goes hand in hand with that fierce independence, because we're trying to, whatever it is we're trying to prove to our daddy wound, whatever, that's a whole other tangent.
Yeah.
But what happens, though, is that we become so white knuckled,
Mhm.
and that translates throughout all aspects of our life,
Mhm.
unless we set into place rituals and other calendared entries for shifting into feminine. And again, there's some masculine there where it's like, okay, well, I have to put it on my calendar or else it won't get done.
Mhm.
Sure, that's fine. But then once you're in it, then we get to let go and welcome in the feminine.
Mhm.
So to answer your question, my journey has just been all over the place. But what I see now though is that, shifting into the feminine isn't a nice to have. It's not just like this thing that, like, oh, I should be doing. It's crucial. It has now become actually the central aspect of my life. And being in the feminine, I try to be in my feminine before I engage in my masculine, so that I'm really like spending this nurturing time with myself,
Mhm.
so that I can sustain the masculine in my career, in my relationship, in other areas of my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Like I love that you do the shake and bake breaks. So I forgot what you called them, but like so ladies, like Bex is like really, walking her talk, and she has those like daily routines, like, you know what I mean, and you can participate in them, and so that's like, I love that, right? Because you actually show like, so what does that actually look like on a day-to-day basis? Because you could say, well, hello, I am a businesswoman and I work whatever 72 hours a week, right? But like for you, like, okay, no problem, 10 minutes of shaking and dancing and driving and whatever, right? So
Yeah.
I like love that, to bring that more into the conversation,
Yeah.
and that's actually helping you more to become a badass boss bitch,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, I mean, my I think when I started my entrepreneurial journey in this form as a coach, my schedule was so different. I was waking up at like 7 a.m. I was running several miles a day, training for half marathons. just going back to back to back to back with no breaks, maybe a little break for lunch or bring it back to my desk. I mean, there was such a fierce such a fierce need to prove. And by doing so, I felt like I had to work harder and longer. And after several years of that, girl, like that's just going to tear you up and break you down, which did for me. So I was forced to recreate my life so that I could continue in the work that I do, continue in the marriage that I'm in. I mean, we really suffer as women when we're dwelling primarily in the masculine. So what it looks like now today, to answer your question, I wake up, my alarm goes off, and I literally might lay in bed for like 15 or 20 minutes longer, like awake with my eyes open, maybe petting the cat, or just sitting there staring out the window and like hearing my own thoughts, or maybe going over a dream that I had, but like just allowing this quietness without the rush and the hustle and bustle to get going. I build in breaks throughout my day, whether they be a good hour for a lunch break, or since the pandemic quarantine, I've done these 10-minute dance breaks that I've opened up to my community, and they're around lunchtime, midday, like late in the day, and just literally 10 minutes a day of dancing to high vibration music is so magical and cumulative. It not only elevates your heart rate, but it elevates the emotional state, your vibration, which is what we're all trying to elevate for our manifestation purposes, and what's fascinating is that I started these dance breaks for my community, and shortly, like within a week, I'm like, oh yeah, these are for me too. Because what happens is, like, it just, I was talking about that white knuckling. And when we allow ourselves space in our calendar, when we allow ourselves time for laughter, for joy, and for me, that's dance, it starts to just soften up that grip, and in the training that I've done with Mary Morrissey, she talks about manifestation is all about holding an open hand. We don't want to white knuckle our vision, because there's no room for God, source, universe to work its magic on our vision. So we hold this vision with an open hand. And to me, that's like, okay, I hold my vision with a lot of love, laughter, play, levity, like just nourishment, feminine energy. So that, yes, I'm very clear on what I want. I'm going to be very clear on my boundaries, my non-negotiables, and what I don't want. But at the same time, I'm not going to clench and try to keep all that, what I don't want, out. I'm just going to trust that by being in my feminine and by being open and loving, that the universe will match my desire and then raise it, because it always does, right?
Right. Yes. Yes. No. That's so good, because I was just talking yesterday to women, because a lot of us are like just really rigid. There's just a lot of like this, it feels like this energy that's just like, it just goes down, right? The spine is straight and we're just like ready for battle.
Sure.
And so, like when you talked about this white knuckling, right? It's like holding it, like if you don't know what it feels like to be relaxed and let go, to white knuckle and then let go. And you're like, oh, this is what relaxation is like,
Yeah, totally. And like something simple that women listening can do right now in this very moment is just a simple body scan and check in with their belly. Is your belly soft right now, or is your belly drawn in, taut? Now, this is coming from a Pilates teacher. So I'm like navel to spine, hollow belly, in and up all the time, like pelvic floor, gather, lift, the whole thing. But at the same time, that serves a purpose, when we're in motion, when we're trying to protect the spine or create functional movement. Great. However, when we're in creation mode, or when we are receiving or connecting with the divine, like a soft belly is really a beautiful, like, physical indication of our receptivity and openness.
Oh, I love that. That's such a good reminder. It's like, yeah, is it like soft, or is it, you know what I mean? You feel like, oh, you're holding on, right? You're not breathing. It's tight.
Right.
Like, that's
Oh
such
yeah, breathing's another good one. Like I've had to
breathing.
I've had to set a timer for myself, like every 5 minutes, just as an exercise, just to check in to see if I'm breathing, because that's another thing that happens, as we're working. There is literally a condition called email apnea, where at the computer we stop breathing, and breath is, whew, golly, another pathway to be in our feminine energy. It's a nervous system deactivator. So
Yeah.
breath is so important in being in that softness of the feminine.
And tell us, like, a woman that you worked with that came to you that was like maybe even like ultra masculine, and like you help.
I was just thinking about her.
I can tell, I can track you. I'm like, oh, okay, you're already there. Okay, got it.
Oh girl, she was amazing. One of my favorite clients. Super badass boss lady, entrepreneur, huge following, very, very powerful, beautiful, had been married, and I think she was married for like 10 years. It was toxic, abusive, so she got out of that, and then she was 6 years single, just building herself up. She got her master's, she started her business, like she's just doing it. And at the time when we met in a business mastermind, and we were just chatting up. She's like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "I'm a love coach." And she's and I was asking her, I was like, "So what's your love life like right now?" And she just laughed in my face, literally cackled, ha! And I was like, "Okay, understood." And I think it was about a year and a half after that moment where she reached out to me and she was like, "I need your help." And what was so fascinating to me is that I recognized myself in her in that first moment when she cackled, because there is this sensation of us women who are just fiercely independent. We don't need a man, especially if we've had one before who just ended up to be a pain in the ass, right? But at the same time, we want a man. We want companionship. We want that masculine so that we can get into our feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in order to do that, we really, really, as she did, I'm going to call her Jennifer, even though that's not her name, like as she had to do, she really had to, she really had to, I mean, there were several steps that I walked her through. One of them was a creative vision. There's so many women that I see that kind of fall into relationship out of default, or because it's convenient. Oh, my best friend moved in next door. He bought a house next door, and now he said that we should just start dating. So I'm like, okay. It's like, well, girl, like that sounds pretty convenient to him, for him. So, we had to create a vision. We had to really get in touch with what beliefs she's working with, because of the toxic relationship, because of being single for so long. She had built up these walls around her vulnerability, around her emotions.
Yeah.
And those are the key doorways, again, to our feminine energy, and so and a lot of women think that, well, I have to be in partnership to practice my feminine energy, but that's not true at all. And one of the things that Jennifer and I did, was really like have her reflect on her emotional state. She had never really articulated her feelings into feeling words. And girl, if you don't know how to do that, then like being in a long-term committed relationship is just not going to fly, because we need to have that language in order to do that. So there were so many things that we worked on to kind of like, and the thing is that I want to get across is that we didn't take away any of her big boss lady, badass energy. I mean,
Right.
This woman is crushing it, and she has the relationship of her desires, but now she just knows how to shift in and out of that feminine when it's necessary, when it's going to contribute to the situation, the relationship, versus when she needs to be in her masculine to like drive things forward.
Yeah, it's like it's supposed to be like mastering that art of transition we're talking about, right? It's like knowing exactly, being flexible enough too, like moving out of that rigidity. That's what I'm also hearing you're saying, that you learned, because in order to transition, we got to be flexible. Like, as we were rigid, there is no transition. You know what I mean? It's like, it's going to be aggravating to the system to move out of it. Awesome. Well, I know we're like getting to the end of our interview together, Bex. So for the women who are like, okay, Bex, I'm having a really hard time. I'm kind of like just like Jennifer. So you caught me. You're talking to me.
I got you.
They're like wondering, wait, did I meet you a few years ago?
Right.
What gift do you have for them to really start entering more your world and continuing this journey of embodiment?
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a great question. I mean, there's so many ways that I could invite women to into, but there's one tool that I offer for free on my website. It's 6 steps, and it's an instant shift into your feminine energy.
I know.
So it includes like a recognition of when we're out of alignment with our feminine energy, and then an instant shift of like a practice that you can use anytime, anywhere, totally free, totally portable, to bring yourself back to your feminine, bring you back to your desire, connect with your vision so that you can take inspired action moving forward. But it's, it's really like this opportunity for women to like pause and recognize, oh, I want to show up as my highest self right now, or I want to be in my most radiant feminine right now. So it's an easy doorway for them to walk through to access that.
Oh, I love that. And I love the instantness because nobody can wait like these days. So awesome. Ladies, for that, of course, the link will be right below this video. Bex, any last like messages or like words for those women who are really sort of like, more in this like structured power place and they don't even see a way out, they feel like there's such a huge gap.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm thinking of just one thing. I mean, I would say to these fiercely independent women, like, just, it's okay to slow down. It's okay to gift yourself time to do nothing or to daydream out the window. Like, it's okay. And as I say this, I invite anybody who's having a reaction inside, because I know me, like my 10 years ago self would be like, are you kidding? So if you're having any kinds of thoughts like that, or any kind of pushback thoughts on the invitation to do nothing, that is your golden nugget of transformation. Great. She's active. What is she telling you? Why is she objecting to taking a break, a full hour for lunch, or a walk at the end of your day? Or what is she objecting to? What is she afraid of? That's just some of the process that I do working with fiercely independent women, just to break down some of that independence. Because the truth is, if you want a partnership, you just can't be fiercely independent. We need some interdependence in order to create and maintain long-lasting love. That doesn't mean that you can't, it doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're anything less than the amazing, extraordinary, badass woman that you are. It's just that you get to learn how to receive. You get to learn to ask for help. Like, I mean, it's not a bad deal.
Oh, I love it, Bex. Oh my gosh, you're so straightforward. I love it. But thank you so much for being here today and for bringing your joy. Like, I always have to like emphasize that, just really like bringing your joy to the women in that whole process, because it doesn't have to be all serious and all like, hard work to move into your feminine. It can actually be joyful, ladies,
Yes, joy. And the more fun it is, the better. I mean, part of the feminine energy is joy, is levity, is playfulness. So, I mean, go for it. Like, bust out a hula hoop, learn how to get down with your hula hoop self.
Oh yeah.
Whatever it is that brings you the joy.
You're giving me some more ideas here, Bex, Next time you got to do a hula hoop session for a couple of minutes. And then
you bet.
You
got it.
All right, ladies, this is it for today. I will talk to you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.